We getting ready to go. $55 seconds. Hello, Patriots. Welcome to the show. We got a really good show today. It appears that the government is about to shut down, that there is an imminent shutdown coming. This happened, I think, once not too long ago during Donald Trump's last presidency. But me, as a constitutional conservative who believes in independent states' rights and that the federal government should barely exist, I am perfectly cool and happy and okay with the government shutting down. 90% of the federal government is unconstitutional and you don't need it, and or they do nothing. That's why I was disappointed with the split between Musk and Trump and Doge, who is just hammering through everything and collapsing half of the federal government. And that's where the split came between Trump and Jesus. I can't even think of his name. Elon Musk. Wow, brain fart. Normally I have my neuro gum in that I chew, but I'm out of that. I got to order some more of that on Amazon. If you haven't had that, not sponsored at all, but it's really good stuff. You just chew it. It's gum, and it's got like caffeine and some vitamin in it that really helps you think. And as you're chewing, the blood flow goes through your brain. It's super awesome. But the government, it appears, is shutting down. And the left side of the aisle is blaming the right side of the aisle and saying, hey, you guys have a majority in Congress and the Senate and the presidency, so you guys should be able to get this passed. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Those are just talking points that they're throwing out for the people who do not understand how government works to just flock to their side. That's kind of what we're seeing. But we're going to talk about that. I got some great clips. They're calling it the Schumer Shutdown, which I think is amazing and awesome. We'll be right back. 47 seconds. Do not go anywhere.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Harsh to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Here is your host, Ryan Samuels.
So, the government shut down. The last vote did not pass. They all went home. Isn't that amazing that the federal government is about to shut down and the people who are elected to vote it in have a vote, and then our vote didn't pass, so we're just going to go home and the government's just going to shut down. Couple of rumors that you need to understand that are not true. Number one, you're going to get paid your Social Security. It comes out of a different pot, right? And for your VA benefits or retirees, you're going to get paid that too. The people who are not going to get paid are like TSA agent and our military troops. Now, the government shutdowns are done for political purposes only, and it's usually full of nonsense that the Democrats do it in order, or the Republicans to do it as well. I mean, this is a tactic by political party, either political party. But let's watch the vote not pass.
On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45. The 60-vote threshold having not been achieved, the bill upon reconsideration is not passed.
So they need 60, but this whole spiel, how from the Democrats that the Republicans need to they have the power here and they have control of the government, so therefore they're the ones that need to get this thing passed. They need 60 votes. They don't have 60 Republicans in the Senate, so it's not possible for them to do that. They need like 7 Democrats. John Fetterman has already stepped up. But the core of this is, and I'm going to kind of explain this to you, all right? I try to remain as fair as I can on this show. I am definitely on the right side of the aisle. I am not on the left side of the aisle, so everything I do comes from that view. But this is part of the American process, okay? So basically, the Democrats are placing in a section of it that says that they're going to give money to illegal aliens for medical insurance, right? They're doing that because they know the Republicans won't go for that, and that the Republicans are going to stand their ground and up until a government gets shut down. Now, what does that do for the Democrats? Well, the Democrats now get to stand on a microphone and say what they're saying, okay? This is a tactic that the minority in the government, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, can do in order to fight the majority on their way, right? So this is almost, it's a consequence of our checks and balances. Do I agree with the Democrats? No. Am I glad that a minority party has the ability to sometimes throw a wrench in things of what the majority party's doing? Yeah, absolutely. That's America. This is why it's super hard to change our government, which is why it's our rights have not been completely and utterly trampled. It's because of these processes that one side gets in power, the other side still has a way to kind of throw a monkey wrench in the gears and jam them all up, and then they got to get together and pull the monkey wrench out and put everything together. That's our system of government. Now, are the Democrats right in what they're doing? To me, no, because I don't agree with the Democratic Party and their platform. But this is just the process that either party uses. I mean, Ted Cruz, who famously stood at a filibuster and read his children a bedtime story for like 48 hours in order to filibuster a bill, that was an example of the minority jamming up the process of the majority. It's actually a good thing that we have that ability in our government, right? So I'm not siding with the Democrats. I'm siding with the fact that I'm okay with the minority being able to stop the majority. That's what makes us a republic, right? For all you Republicans that are listening, that's what makes us a republic, is that the majority does not violate the rights of the minority, okay? Majority rule is, yeah, you could call it democracy, but if you're standing in a group of 4 people and we all have a bicycle, and then 3 people cast a vote and say, hey, we're going to take Ryan's bicycle, and I'm outvoted 3-1, I lost my property. But is that fair? Is that a democracy? Well, yeah, it's democracy. We all voted, and it's fair. We all decided, and now 3 people are against me, and they took my property. No, the minority needs to be able to defend what's going on. Now, we got a bunch of videos we're gonna do, as I always do. I have not looked at any of them, or at least most of them. I think maybe I watched 1 or 2. But we're going to start with Ted Cruz, okay? Ted Cruz released a video. Again, this is a guy who stood up in front of Congress and the Senate and filibustered by reading his kids a bedtime story. Let's hear what he had to say about the government shutdown.
Welcome to the Schumer shutdown. In 9 hours, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are very likely going to shut the federal government down. They are doing this to hold the government hostage in order to try to force free health care for illegal aliens all across this country. Now, President Trump's not going to go along with that, and neither are Republicans in the House and Senate. Understand why this is happening. At midnight tonight, September 30th, funding for the federal government expires. To keep the federal government open, Congress needs to pass additional funding. The House has already done so. The House has passed a continuing resolution, a clean CR that funds the government for the next 2 months. There are no riders on it. There's no Republican policy on it. It simply continues the status quo. It says tomorrow will be the same as today. In the Senate, for the Senate to pass it, we need 60 votes. With the filibuster rule in the Senate,
Correct.
We've got to have 60 votes. We only have 53 Republicans. That means we need at least 7 Democrats.
Right. So he's saying exactly what I'm saying. The Democrats can stand on a pedestal and say, you guys got the majority, but we can't get it because you have to hit the 60 vote threshold in the Senate. So they need 7 Democrats. Now, Chuck Schumer is ordering the Democrats in the Senate not to pass the continuing resolution unless they get what they want. They're holding it hostage. But again, it's it's a tactic of the minority, whoever the minority is fighting the majority in Congress or the Senate or whatever. It's a political tactic that exists in a republic. I don't like it. It's wrong. People are going to suffer from it. You know, none of our troops are going to get paid. They'll get back pay. But for the time being, they're not going to get paid. The state parks are going to, the national parks are going to shut down. Everybody's going to go home. And it's just all over powerful people having a pissing match. In a nutshell is what it is.
And in all likelihood, the Democrats are not going to vote to keep the government open. This is all because Chuck Schumer is terrified of AOC and his left flank, and he wants to show just how much he hates Donald Trump by holding the government hostage. So the Democrats, in 9 hours, they're going to shut down the national parks. They're going to shut down Yosemite Park. They're going to shut down the Smithsonian. They're going to shut down the National Institutes of Health. They're going to shut off federal paychecks, all in a temper tantrum to show that they hate Donald Trump. It's not going to work. It's going to fail. They're going to give in. But the Schumer shutdown, it starts in 9 hours.
I mean, he's not wrong. Everything he said was completely right. And they did this when Donald Trump was president last time. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi did this exact identical thing to Donald Trump last time he was in office. I have the video here somewhere. Here it is. So I think this is 2018. Okay. And this is like when Trump was serious. I mean, he's really hated. But this is them trying to discuss a shutdown. And Nancy says something. I remember this. I watched this video. Nancy said, this is December 11th, 2018, almost 7 years ago almost 7 years ago. And Nancy Pelosi says something very interesting. She's like, well, we shouldn't be having this conversation in front of the cameras. And Trump's like, what are you talking about? Like, let's do it in front of the cameras. Everybody should know. That's what drives me nuts about Washington, too. Nothing should be behind closed doors. Every conversation, every negotiation that they're having should be in front of a camera. If you're doing backroom deals and my representative is talking to Chuck Schumer, my senator is talking to Chuck Schumer, and they're brokering a deal, I want to watch that video, dude. I want to make sure my guy is abiding by my beliefs and my core beliefs and the core beliefs of my community. But here's the video from 2018.
We do not want to shut down the government. Because you can't get
the
your
last
way.
time you shut it down, you got killed.
Let me say something, Mr. President.
Let me say this.
North Dakota
This
and
is the
India.
most unfortunate thing. We came in here in good faith, and we're entering into this kind of a discussion in the public view.
But it's not bad, Nancy.
No,
it's called transparency.
I know it's not transparency when we're not stipulating to a set of facts.
We do not want to.
Right. Yeah. The only thing she has to complain about is like, listen, we're trying to hold this government hostage and we're trying to mess with millions of people's jobs and you're making us do it publicly. And that's crazy. So can we do this in private so I don't get creamed in the polls? That's all that is. Here's Chuck Schumer with his fake announcement. Let's just watch. I didn't watch this, but this is him coming out talking about the shutdown.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And I'm proud to be joined by my colleagues, Senators Durbin, Murray, and Klobuchar. So we see now Republicans are plunging America into a shutdown, rejecting bipartisan talks, pushing a partisan bill, and risking America's health care, worst of all. A few moments ago, Republicans once again rejected Democrats' proposals to avoid a shutdown, fix health care premiums.
They need to get rid of the whole friggin' healthcare system. You get rid of healthcare insurance, you will see healthcare costs going dramatically down.
And spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof healthcare costs. Republicans blocked it again.
No, Chuck, they blocked you trying to give illegal immigrants medical insurance.
Once again. So now 2 times, Republicans have failed to get enough votes to avoid a shutdown. They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats to come to a bill that both parties can support. They didn't do that in the past. Their bill, they call it clean, we call it totally partisan. There was no input from Democrats. Not a single line in their bill had input from Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They never consulted us. Thune didn't consult me. Johnson didn't consult Hakeem. And the bottom line is that we had a partisan bill. You don't pass partisan bills.
Well, let's see, Chuck, if you will sit here and maybe tell us what was partisan about it. And I haven't watched his video, so I don't know if I might click play and he might just turn around and be like, yeah, well, they did this, this, and this. But so far, you're just calling it partisan. So let's hear maybe, I don't know, what's in the bill and why you refused?
CR. When I was majority leader, we passed 13 of these bills. Not one shutdown. You want to know why? It's because we negotiated with them. They didn't. And that's why they have failed now twice. Now, why do we care so much about them negotiating with us? It's not a point of pride. It's because Americans are hurting with higher costs throughout the country. Some of it's tariffs, some of it's energy costs, some of it's food costs. But one of the main reasons, and the one with the most immediate impact on raising Americans' costs, is skyrocketing costs of health care, all done by the Republicans. We have now learned that
all done by the Republicans. The whole healthcare system is, the reason it's so screwed up and so expensive is because government is involved. Government could screw up a cup of coffee. You shouldn't have government involved in your health care. Here's John Kennedy on Fox News talking about the shutdown.
Very quickly, Senator, just give us your recent take on this government shutdown, whether it's going to happen, and what you see at stake here.
We're going to have a shutdown because Senator Schumer and the Democrats want one. It will be further evidence that human evolution is a slow process. There's no reason for the shutdown. What we've asked Senator Schumer and his colleagues to approve is what we've approved 15, 20 times, but they want to shut down because the loon wing of the Democratic Party is mad at Chuck, and Chuck wants them to love him, so we're going to have a shutdown.
Okay. All right. We will watch it unfold. Thank you very much, Senator Kennedy. Very quickly, Senator
Kennedy, is he right? He might be. I don't know. Here is CNN discussing the government shutdown. I'm interested to see what they have to say.
Yeah, 100% sure thing. In fact, senators are leaving right now. They're headed home for the night. The House is out of session, and the bill is about to fail. The bill that is the only real path out of a government shutdown, the Republican plan that actually passed the United States House last week, about a week and a half ago, largely along party lines that would keep the government open for 7 weeks, now will be blocked by Democrats in the Senate. The vote is now 53-44. It is still ongoing. but there are not enough votes to break a filibuster. It requires 60 votes to advance. Just 3 Democrats have voted to advance this bill. That includes Senator John Fetterman, who's someone who has long called for a 100% sure thing. In fact, senators are.
Here is Face the Nation with Rand Paul. Both parties are bankrupt. This is Senator Rand Paul. He posted this, and he was on Face the Nation today. Both parties are bankrupting America. GOP plan equals $2 trillion in new debt. Dems plan equals $3 trillion. I offered a real solution, the penny plan, balanced budget in 5 years. 36 Republicans stood with me. No Democrats did. If we don't fix this, the shutdown is the least of our problems. The government funding and spending is, I don't know how much long this bubble is going to last before it friggin' implodes on everybody.
The president is basically expecting a shutdown and possibly to carry out these mass layoffs. Do you think all of this is just a threat to make Democrats fold?
Well, I think both sides have to look at the proposals for spending and decide, what is the best way forward for the country. The Republican proposal adds about $2 trillion in debt over the next year, so it'll be short $2 trillion. So I oppose the Republican plan because it adds debt. The Democrat plan would add $3 trillion in debt. So really both plans are laden with deficit spending, and I think that's the biggest problem that our country faces. So I've actually proposed an alternative. I've proposed a penny plan, which would cut a little bit across the board, and my plan would balance over about 5 years. We got a vote on mine last week, and 36 Republicans supported it, 16 didn't, and no Democrats did. So my plan didn't pass either. But the plan that I would support would be a plan that reduces spending and reduces deficit spending.
The president is.
Yeah, I think most Americans would vote for that. I don't think more Americans would vote for more spending. I'm good with government. Every time there's a government shutdown or a loom of a government shutdown, I'm like, let's go, buddy. Turn off the lights. Everybody, kick that AC off. We're going to have a big consignment sale. We're selling your desk and your chair, and we're going to pay off our debt and stop paying 40% of your paycheck and your overtime to the federal government. It's outrageous and it's stupid, and all they do is waste it. And they're a bunch of the federal government, the politicians are just a waste of time and space. I mean, get out of here. You do nothing. I'm good, man. I hope it shuts down. But the funny thing is that the only people who are going to suffer are the ones who don't deserve to suffer. If Congress stopped getting paid for a government shutdown, then I bet you we wouldn't see too many government shutdowns. Or if they actually balanced the budget, I bet you there wouldn't be a need to pass a continuing resolution on the budget because nobody would be mad about it. $2 trillion. Jesus. Where's that money going? That's not real. It's not even real money. You just make it up and print it. Here's Hakeem.
That's not our approach. But Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If the government shuts down, it's their decision to do it.
Incorrect. Hakeem, you're lying to the country. You're lying to the nation. You're lying to yourself. In order for it to pass, 60 votes need to be done in the Senate. There's only 53 Republicans. He's lying to you. For the viewers out there and the listeners out there, Hakeem Jeffries is lying. Write this down. This is an actual proven lie.
That's not our approach. But Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If the government shuts down, it's their decision to do it.
But this is a continuing resolution. And it's going to happen. All these things that you want to do, there's no way any of them are going to be negotiated by the time this happens. And if you shut down the government, you last time, Democrats point out, you lose FEMA, you lose troop pay, you lose all these different things that are so important to Democrats when they're on the other side of this. If you're not going to get all these other things settled, you need to do the CR to get the government funded and then return to this and do it in the normal course of business. For Congress.
That's not.
Hakeem. That's the most disappointing person in American politics since Barack Obama. I mean, that guy has the IQ of a wet roll of paper towels. Hakeem. Is that the name of the dude? Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, Hakeem. Were you named after Hakeem, the Prince of Zamunda? Here's Trump's comments on the situation. Let's see what old Donald had to say.
We could come up and through this whole thing, because I don't know, we'll probably have a shutdown because one of the things they want to do is they want to give incredible Medicare, the Cadillac Medicare to illegal immigrants. And what that does is it keeps them coming into our country, and like they do in California. And no country can afford that. No country. And we have the border stopped up. We have it closed. We have nobody for 4 months. Zero people came in. That wasn't me. That's by the authorities who happen to be liberally oriented. But just think of that. We have people offering health care to people all over the world that they can't afford to pay. And that's the Democrats. And what that does is it brings people into the country because they want to come in for the health care. But no country can afford it. And they can't afford it. So we cannot allow them to charge tremendous amounts of money for health care for people that aren't even citizens. And in many cases, they come in from prisons, jails, and mental institutions. And we can't let that happen. So
government doesn't need to be paying for health care for anybody, let alone illegal immigrants. I mean, what planet did the Democrats frickin' live on? They're Looney Tunes. Sarah McBride, she's a congressman. She's not a woman. He transitioned from male to female and now is a member of Congress, simply so the Democrats can say, we have a transgender member of Congress, is running around the halls, filming a video at a time where everybody's gone, and then acting like, let's just watch it. Let's just check it out, shall we?
We're barreling towards a shutdown. All my Democratic colleagues are here.
This is gross, by the way, that this person is actually an elected official. Like, this is somebody who has some issues in their mind, clearly.
I'm going to go search for my Republican colleagues. Republicans, y'all know there's a government shutdown. Republicans, anyone here?
Everybody's gone. The Democrats are gone too. This idiot is just running around pretending as if the people aren't at their job. Like, everybody's gone. Like, the Democrats are gone
Johnson
too.
In here? Let's see if some Republicans are in here. Are there any Republicans in here?
Gee, I wonder if that camera person got in there and made sure there were no Republicans in there before you entered and did this whole dramatic thing. Or did the camera person just happen to be there and send you the video?
Hello? Republicans? No Republicans here. They left a mess and left town. No Republicans on the train. Republicans. Have you seen any Republicans? Are any Republicans here? Hello, Republicans.
This is a stupid video
Does anyone know how to fix this thing? Hello?
that I can't watch anymore. That's what Democrats are doing as the government shuts down. Let's watch Russ Voigt on Fox Business discuss the shutdown.
I mean, estimate for us. Give us some ballpark numbers here. We've already had some sizable reductions in force. Actually, there's a number 300,000 floating around for this calendar year.
Good.
That may or may not be the right number, but that number is floating around. Now, if there's a budget shutdown, as our own chat program suggested, almost ineluctably will be a budget shutdown, then you have the authority to reduce the federal employee count by roughly how much?
Well, I'm going to let that those kinds of questions extend until tomorrow and the days after. Right now, where we are, we have hours to go before a government shutdown, and it can be avoided. And then we'll get in tomorrow. The preparation is all done. We have many options, but we're going to get in tomorrow and see where we are, and we're going to manage this shutdown and try to keep the American people from the havoc that the Democrats have caused on with their crazy demands. But let it be said, there are all manner of authorities to be able to keep this administration's policy agenda moving forward, and that includes reducing the size and scope of the federal government, and we will be looking for opportunities to do that.
And you've made that.
So, translation. If the government shuts down, the Trump administration has the authority to lay off a lot of people. Once the government shuts down, they lay them off, and then they reopen, and now you lost a lot of people. That's what he's saying.
Very clear to Mr. Schumer. It doesn't seem to move him, Russ vote. That's what I don't understand. It will be worse. I mean, if I were he, and I'm most certainly not, but if I were he, I would want a continuing resolution and discuss all this stuff. I wouldn't want to hand the circular over to you, and he'll have to take some measures that he's not going to like one darn bit.
Well, I think he's got some time over the next several hours to come back from the brink, to work with his moderates to get a continuing resolution passed. We'll see how these votes come up, and then we'll see where we are in the morning.
All right. Well, Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vogt.
We know how the votes came up now, and they did not pass. So there is a government shutdown. And it is unfortunate that these lunatic lefties are allowing this to happen. But like I said, it's the minority fighting the majority, and I don't think in this case it's really warranted. I think that's reserved for if the Republicans are trying to do something or trying to pass something that they really don't like, they would pull a government shutdown or something like that, like a tool in their box. Like if the Republicans were going to pass a national conceal and carry, like, oh yeah, I think that would be great. And Democrats freaked out and they're like, well, we're going to shut down the government. We're going to hold that hostage to stop that. That's like a big issue that the Democrats would use this tool to fight. This doesn't seem like they're really fighting anything. It doesn't seem they're trying to stop anything that's about to be done or interfere or using as a negotiation tool. It's basically sounds like just Schumer is just kind of being a pain in the neck is what it sounds like to me. I don't think it's going to last long. But I mean, we'll see. Here's Senator Mullen talking about the government shutdown. I love how in this situation with the government shutdown, every friggin' last politician, their YouTube or their social media views go through the roof, and it's wonder if that has something to do with it. And then they get to stand outside and make their reels and talk about how they're fighting for the people and all that crap.
All right, guys, we're 5 hours out here from a Schumer shutdown, and what is happening other than my tie is blowing everywhere? I hate buttoning this, but I will. In 1996, I was senior in high school. Chuck Schumer, at the point, was a congressman. That's a career politician for you, by the way, because that was 29 years ago. That he went out and said, we shouldn't be providing benefits for illegal aliens. Today, he's shutting down the government to provide those benefits for illegals, which, if I remember correctly, last year, 11 months ago, the American people voted against that policy. But here we are, so now we're moving to a shutdown. If that's not holding the American people hostage, then I don't know what is. In the Senate, it takes 60 votes. We have 53 Republicans. We need at least 7 Democrats agreeing to vote with us. One person is John Fetterman from Pennsylvania. Give that guy his props, because he's willing to do what's right for the American people, not just stick to party line. Stay tuned. We're looking for every avenue possible to reopen the government. But like my mom said, you can't argue with crazy, and so you can't make sense out of it either. All right, guys, we're 5 hours.
I mean, it's a good point. You really can't argue with crazy. Here is Fetterman. I haven't watched this, but he just released this video like not even an hour ago. So let's see what this is. He just dropped this like as I was going live. Let's hear what he has to say, because he voted for it.
Hi, this evening I just voted for 2 CRs tonight. And the first one votes to affirm that we would like to extend the ACA tax credits, because of course I voted for health care. The second vote is about making sure that we keep our government open. And I did vote for that because I think it's a sad event if we shut our government down later today. So for me, our nation doesn't believe that kinds of chaos. Now, for me, it's about more over the country, not the party in this kinds of moments just like this.
You notice how they're just all out in the parking lot? These people are all friends, by the way. I don't know if you know that. You may think that they're all enemies, mortal enemies. They're not. They're not. They're friends. Here is Congresswoman Julie Johnson on the Hill. Let's hear what she has to say. I wonder if she's going to say, she's a Democrat. I wonder if she's going to say the thing. And the thing is going to be Republicans control the House and the Senate and the presidency. If they want a government shutdown, they're going to get it. I wonder if she's going to say that. If it's some sort of party chant, they're all in their emails saying, this is the word track we're going to use. These are the talking points. Okay? Make sure you say this. This is what we're all going to say in unison. Amazing. I didn't even pull it over. I played the video without pulling it over. Ready? Listen to this.
You know, it's almost laughable. The Republicans are in charge. They control the Senate, the House, and the executive. They have all the tools and levers to get a budget process done through the appropriate time. They know the calendar. They have known this deadline is coming since January. We've all known this deadline is coming. And they also know that Democrats are absolutely 100% committed to ensure that Americans have health care in this country.
Of course.
And they put forth a budget that they knew we could never support.
Sure.
And so this is all on them. If they really wanted to get a budget done, they would have.
And you know, you would have an argument there if you say the Republicans put something in here that we knew that they knew we could not agree to. I would be here saying that makes sense. Look, let's look into that. But when you open up knowing that the Senate needs 60 votes and then perpetuating as if the Republicans are completely in control of this whole situation, your argument is not sound and logical. Your argument doesn't make any sense, and I completely just your thought is just illegitimate to me. I knew she was going to say that. That's what all it's funny how it's like they all say the same word tracks. It's almost like organized lying. They're just sitting around lying to you. Here's Mike Johnson.
I would credit President Trump for calling us into the Oval Office yesterday. He's operating in good faith. There is no daylight at all between the President of the United States and the Republican majorities in the House and Senate. We're all united. We want to keep the government open. We have done our work. The House passed the bill, bipartisan, by the way. We had one Democrat join us, okay? But they have to have 60 votes in the Senate. Chuck Schumer's got to release a handful of people to come along to do the right thing and keep the doors open for the country. What happens if they don't? This is really important. I mean, the markets will be rattled, I'm sure, because of the uncertainty that we don't need to be adding into this. You'll have a delay of the BLS jobs report is due October 3rd. That will be delayed. But importantly, real services, real benefits that the American people depend upon. Troops won't be paid. TSA agents won't be paid. The WIC program, the Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Program, and other food services will be delayed. FEMA services won't be provided. We have 2 hurricanes off the coast of the United States right now. I mean, we're in the middle of hurricane season. This is serious stuff. And Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are playing politics with all these people in the American People's Services. And they're willing to do it for political cover. That's the game. They can't face their far-left base. When they come on the program today, I think you're having them both. Ask Chuck Schumer what his real motivation is. He'll try to tell you it's about, these issues that end at the end of the calendar year, December 31. But what it's really about, he's running from AOC and the socialist base of their party who are going to challenge him in his next election. They said he didn't fight Trump when he did the right thing back in March and did a temporary funding measure, and now he's got to fight. And it's shameful. It really is.
It's amazing, like one person has all of this power. but they're not a part of the party that's in charge. I hate to keep repeating that, but again, it's just a side effect of our republic. Here is J.D. Vance. Let's hear what J.D. Vance has to say. The man, the myth, the legend, the next president of the United States. Whoa. Very low.
We have disagreements about healthcare policy, but you don't shut the government down. You don't use your policy disagreements as leverage to not pay our troops, to not have essential services of government actually function. You don't say the fact that you disagree about a particular tax provision is an excuse for shutting down the people's government and all the essential services that come along with it. If you look at what Chuck Schumer has said in the past consistently, it's whatever our disagreements are, let's negotiate with them. Let's talk about them. Let's figure out a bipartisan solution, but you don't shut the government down. In other words, you don't put a gun to the American people's head and say, unless you do exactly what Senate and House Democrats want you to do, we're going to shut down your government. That's exactly what they're proposing out there. Now, we have to remember, they're very frustrated. They say that they're very frustrated about the fact that this negotiation has not taken place until today. But if you look at the original thing they did with this negotiation, it was a $1.5 trillion spending package, basically saying to the American people, we want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care, while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation. We thought it was absurd. We told them it was absurd, and now they come in here saying that if you don't give us everything that we want, we're going to shut down the government. We think that's preposterous. We think it's totally unacceptable, and we think the American people are going to suffer because these guys won't do the right thing. Now, I want to make one final point here. You will hear a lot from Senate Democrats, from House Democrats about the fact that American health care policy is broken. Well, we know that American health care policy is broken. We've been trying to fix it for the 8 months that we've been in office, but every single thing that they accused about being broken about American health care is policy that Democrats have supported for the past decade. So if they want to talk about how to fix American health care policy, let's do it. The Speaker would love to do it. The Senate Majority Leader would love to do it. Let's work on it together, but let's do it in the context of an open government that's providing essential services to the American people. That's all that we're proposing to do, and the fact that they refuse to do that shows how unreasonable their position is. I think we're headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing. I hope they change their mind, but we're going to see. I'll let the Speaker say a few words.
Next president of the United States. Oh, God, I hope so. I hope so, JD. I'm so in your corner. Like, all the way in your corner. Like, 100% in your corner. Let's watch Mike Johnson again speak outside the, I believe they're at the White House.
Their counterproposal, what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are demanding, is that they claw back the $50 billion that we put into the rural hospital support structure. They want to take that back. We're not going to do that. We passed that because we have to allow for that. Also, if they shut the government down, not only are troops unpaid, federal workers, and all the services that everybody relies upon, but the WIC program, the nutrition program, women, infant, and children, they will not get that program, will not be funded. FEMA won't be funded. We have hurricanes off the coast of the United States right now. This is serious business. You have telehealth, you have mental health services, all that's funded by the government would stop if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have their way. The Democrat shutdown would be damaging for the country. We can't allow for it. Their counterproposal.
I'm so good with not having any of those programs. Like, none of them. But none of them are really essential, I would say. Here is Byron. Byron on Fox News, man. Let's see what Byron Daniels has to say.
We could be headed for a government shutdown. I see that as an opportunity for President Trump to take command of spending. What do you say to that?
I completely agree. Let's understand the reason why there's a pending government shutdown is because Chuck Schumer wants more money going to aliens. He wants a wide open border. He wants to give almost $500 million to nonprofit TV networks, something that we don't need if you need right now in today's America. There's entertainment and information all over the place. And that's what they want. They want more spending. They want more reckless policy. That's what the American people rejected last November. And so if there is a government shutdown, it's because Chuck Schumer wants a shutdown for more radical spending that the American people simply do not want.
We could be headed for a government.
Notice how the Republicans have the same word track too. Just notice. That's all I'm saying. But interestingly enough, Maxine Waters, let's see if that video loads. It's not loading. Has made a statement basically almost agreeing with that. I'm going to wait and see if that video will load. Here is CNN talking about the Schumer shutdown. Government shutdown probably likely at midnight. So this is happening. Let's watch this.
I wonder what you make of this New York Times Siena College poll, Frank, that shows President Trump's approval rating largely unchanged since April. Yes, but those groups, some of which you just named, that propelled his campaign last year, Hispanic voters, voters under 30, his net approval has dropped significantly. Should he be concerned about that?
He should be concerned about it, and the Democrats should be concerned because their numbers have dropped even further. When you ask about how well Donald Trump has handled some of these issues, he gets lukewarm, mediocre, sometimes even a little bit negative evaluations. But more impactfully for this election, the Democrats are doing even worse. So basically, there's disappointment with the White House. There is annoyance with the Democratic opposition. If you ask me who's in a better position, I would say to you that history says the Democrats should win. But based on where things stand right now, you have to give the Republicans the edge, even with a shutdown that could happen tonight.
People are going to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. That's the thing. The Democratic Party has lost the plot. They have lost the support of the American people. Listen, you got people who are Democrats who are going to be Democrat until the day they die. There is zero changing their minds. It is what it is, no matter what the party does. Same thing for the friggin' Republicans, dude. It's an issue in this country that people are identified with a party line, and that's their identity, that's their soul. They fought for it their whole life. They're so committed to it. They're never going to change their ways, right? These are red no matter what and blue no matter who, right? Those are the two people. The other people or the swing voters, right? The independents, the people who are kind of like, well, you know, I shoot guns. I like guns, but I also would like the option of an abortion, right? So those kind of people, they swing. They go, well, the Democrat. I'm going to vote for the Democrats this time because this leader seems to be, you know, more in line with me, right? They're not totally anti-gun, but they're not like completely pro-abortion. They're kind of like more in the middle, right? Those are the people that swing. Those people are making a massive move over to the Republican Party, right? Joe Biden's presidency is a freaking disaster, dude. It was a disaster. The guy was a wax figure who couldn't even speak or walk, got destroyed in every debate, destroyed the economy, couldn't even sign his own executive orders because it was done by auto pen. The party is in shambles. The Democratic Party is in shambles. Not to mention Donald Trump is using every executive power in the playbook to completely and utterly crush the Democrats, and the Republicans are on board with it too, right? The Democrats, they have their backs against the wall and they keep shooting themselves in the foot. The United States of America, the people are not buying the Democrats' BS because they cried wolf for way too long with Donald Trump. They cried, well, oh, this guy's a Russian spy. This guy's a Russian asset. He's a felony. Lock him up, put him in jail. And all they did was build him way stronger. If they got him out of office in 2020, regardless of what you say, they did it. Legally, I might add. Legally, they did it. In an unethical and, you could argue, unconstitutional way. But they did it, right? Using judges and mail-in ballots. They freaking did it, okay? Had they got him out of office, just left him alone and ignored him, and just kind of have Biden sit Biden down and be like, dude, you got to kill it. As long as you're in here, you kill it. We're going to work on the poll numbers. Keep your poll numbers high. this guy's going to be out of politics forever. Do you know how hard it is to get back into the presidency after you lost the presidency? Like, that is almost impossible. And the Republicans gave it back to him by acting so erratic and going after him criminally. It was insane. Insane. Here's Nancy Pelosi on the shutdown. Let's listen to this beauty.
In fact, I've listened to their shit, and I tell them to go f themselves. So that's the... I can't believe I use that word.
I can, because you're drunk.
My kids will be shocked. My grandchildren will be further shocked. I'm just quoting the President of the United States. And so I think...
I love how she can't even speak a sentence because she's so freaking old. And it's crazy. All right, let's watch this. Let's listen to this clip.
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're talking about. 24 pages. It's a continuing resolution to fund the government through November the 21st. I don't know where they're saying this is some huge partisan thing. This is something we do fairly routinely. And when the Democrats had the majority on 13 different occasions, they had the majority, President Biden was in the White House, we passed continuing resolutions to fund the government. This is purely and simply hostage-taking on behalf of the Democrats. The Republicans are united. House Republicans, Senate Republicans, President Trump. The House has passed a clean funding resolution to fund the government until November the 21st. It's clean, it is bipartisan, and it is short-term. But it gives us enough time to finish the appropriations process, which is the way we should be funding the government. So Republicans in the House and the Senate, President united, they've passed the bill. This is sitting right now at the Senate desk. We could pick it up and pass it tonight. We could pick it up and pass it tomorrow before the government shuts down. And then we don't have a government shutdown. It is totally up to the Democrats because right now they are the only thing standing between the American people and the government shutting down. We're all in favor of funding the government. And this is something that's been done routinely 13 different times by the Democrats when they had the majority. So it's to me, it's purely a hostage-taking exercise on the part of the Democrats. We are willing to sit down and work with them on some of the issues they want to talk about, whether it's the extension of premium tax credits with reforms. We're happy to have that conversation. But as of right now, this is a hijacking of the American people, and it's the American people who are going to pay the price.
Now, do you get reimbursed for the taxes that you paid during the shutdown? Is that what happens? You get reimbursed for that? It shuts down for a week? Like, where does the tax money go? Just a question. I mean, just asking for a friend. Is that something I can expect to get a check back from? Or is that money gone forever? But the GOP is fighting, and the Democrats are fighting. Again, listen, like I said, I don't agree with the Democrats 99% of the time. There's not a lot of Democrats that I would ever vote for. I'd probably vote for John Fetterman. If that was like my only option. I'm not completely opposed to him. I think he kind of stays a little moderate and neutral, and I think a little neutrality is good in our the halls where our elected officials walk every day. But, you know, like I said, this is a tool that the minority can use to protect the minority rights or the minority interests in government. And I don't think they're doing that here, but I'm glad that they have that, because when the Democrats get the House, the Senate, and the presidency and want to try to pass some crap that I don't want, I would like the Republicans to be able to interfere with it too. Does that stifle the growth of both parties? Yes. And am I okay with that? Yes, because the growth of both parties equals the growth of government, right? There's a bird, right? And the bird, its body is government, and the wings are the parties. And as they grow, the body grows. And we don't want big government, because big government has killed more people than cancer. Big government is the death of everything wonderful and holy in the world. Every government that's gone too big has oppressed its citizens and then collapsed. All of them. There's not a successful big government in history. The only one that's really been that successful is the United States, but how long is that going to last? You know, the nature of government is to just grow and seize power. We talk about this on the show all the time. This is the reality. This is the premise of the show, is to discuss the principles of individual government and lowering the government. We stress all of the time to get involved in your local elections. We talk about national politics here because I can't sit here and break down the problems in every county across the country. It just wouldn't work. But you need to be involved in your local politics. You need to be involved in the school board. Whether your kids go to school there or not, you need to go to these school board meetings. You want to know what's happening in these schools. You need to go to your county commissioners and your city councilmen's meetings, and you need to be like, what are you talking about? You're going to pass a law that says my dog should be on a leash? Why should my dog be on a leash? That's just a hyperbolic example. But we need to be more involved to shrink the size of the government and let the states have the power, because here's the thing. If Florida, where I live, happens to grow beyond what I want, I can freaking move, dude. I can move up to Georgia. I can move over to Alabama. I can go to Mississippi, Texas, or in another universe, I could go to California, where it's a complete Republican country, and the timeline is set up where what Florida is now, California is, whatever. You have the ability to move. You know, if the United States federal government grows too tyrannical and starts, I don't know, censoring your free speech, pulling your guns away and destroying them, passing unconstitutional gun bans, assault weapons bans, pistol bans, whatever, or just outlawing guns completely and saying you can only own muskets. Like that's what the government would want, right? That's what the Democrats want. They want you to be able to own a musket, okay? And not be able to speak against them, right? And big Republicans want that too, dude. Or at least they will in the future, when their memory is not as, they don't recall what's happened to them over the past 4 years. But that's why the states have their rights. Anywhere else you go in the world, it's a country is called a state. So in the United States, what we are is we're united countries. So back during the Constitutional Convention, where the founders drafted the Constitution, okay, and the Bill of Rights, and they discussed these things, they always referred to their states, their colonies, as their country. So if you were from Massachusetts, Massachusetts was your country. If you were from Virginia, Virginia was your country. They had delegates at the Continental Congress from each state, right? Because a state is a country. The 10th Amendment says all that is the powers not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution shall be left up to the states respectively. Meaning that basically, other than what this Constitution says, if it doesn't say that you can do that, then that means you can't do it. And only the states can do it. The states are supposed to be sovereign, and we're just basically united for a national defense. That's really what it was. It was all these independent states that got together for independence. At first, they didn't get together for independence, right? The 13 colonies, when they went to Philadelphia and discussed the tenets of liberty, and we had probably the greatest minds in time all together, coming up with ideas, right? They were there to try to figure out, hey, how are we going to fix this stuff going on with the king back home, dude, and Parliament? Like, this stuff's out of control. These guys are nuts. They're taxing us for every little thing. Let's get together. Let's send them some letters. Let's see if we can resolve this. And Great Britain was just like, what are you doing? You're an illegitimate body. You don't exist. We don't care about you. You guys need to separate or we're going to kill you. That's basically what happened. And then they forced them, the road went to independence. Okay. But the notion for all of them was that they were states and they were uniting, and it was like, yeah, listen, we got to stick together. But Benjamin Franklin said it after the Olive Branch petition came back, and King George said, basically, you're all in treason. We're going to kill you all and hang you all. Benjamin Franklin said, well, either we're going to hang together or we're going to hang separately, meaning we need to all stick together, and our militias need to come together, which is our state armies need to come together and fight against the British, but we united for a common defense, right? That's why the President of the United States is the commander-in-chief of the troops of all the states united. We've completely gone off the reservation with that. We're not even the same atmosphere as we were in 1776. We're in a totally different timeline. If our founding fathers came here, they would faint at what a disaster our government has become and how far it's grown, and they would treat, or Democrats would treat them like idiots and spit on them and destroy them and publicly cancel them and shame them, and it would be a freaking disaster. But, you know, the notion that the federal government exists and we're really one country. We are a country, but we're United States. We're individual united sovereign nations. It would be as if Africa, the continent, right, because Africa is not a country, the continent, all of the states, right, or, you know, all their little countries united and said, hey, we're the United Countries of Africa. And we elect the states, and that's what happens here. The states elect the President of the United States. You don't elect the President of the United States. The states elect the President of the United States through the Electoral College. Because the country is electing their representative who unites all of us. Okay? But we've just completely gone away from that, and government's completely out of control, and we need to shrink the size of government. And you know what? The government shuts down. I always kind of crack a smile. And it's like, you know, I feel bad for the people that are involved and government workers, and they're going to lose their jobs, and it's always temporary. It's never permanent. Never is it permanent. It's like, oh, they're going to shut it, and then they shut it down for like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then people come back, and it's like they get all their back pay, and then they're right back to work, and it's just a political freaking game that never really goes anywhere and never really solves anything. They just get their little sound bites and their news clips, and they get to go on the air and talk about how they're right, and the other side gets to go on the air and talk about how they're right, and then the entire country focuses on politics nationally, because I see it in this podcast. It's like, oh, government shutdown, my views double. And then it goes away because all of a sudden everybody's interested and they want to know. Your normal person's not watching politics all the time. I watch politics all the time because it's a passion of mine. But your normal person's not. So this is what they do. This is what the elite do. It's a popcorn fart. In the end, they're going to work it out. They're going to get the resolution passed. Schumer just wants to be able to say, hey, yeah, I did X, Y, and Z because Republicans are bad and we want to get our things done. But that's just kind of how our politics work. And I think sometimes it can be a good thing. And I can't stress that enough to everybody. Hey, Kat, how are you? Welcome on. I can't stress that enough to everybody how great of a tool it is for the party not in power to play games like this. It is, because it stifles the other party from expanding the government into bigger power. And that's what I want. I want to see Republicans and Democrats come together and just be like, do we really need the ATF? What do they do? Alcohol, tobacco, firearms. So everything they do is illegal. How is there a federal agency whose entire name and mission is dedicated to things that are illegal to do and have? It's not illegal to have tobacco. It's not illegal to have alcohol. It's not illegal to have fireworks or firearms, excuse me. So how is it that there's an entire federal agency dedicated to 3 things that everybody has a right to have and use whenever they want? Like, goodbye. Let's go ahead and just cut that out. Stop the spending on that. And let's try to look for other areas. Like the FBI actually does criminal investigations for crimes, right? So the ATF really going after people using tobacco? Oh, my God. Oh, let me clutch my pearls. Tobacco use. Alcohol? Oh, no. They serve alcohol at Catholic Church every Sunday. Where's the ATF? Call them up. There's people here using alcohol. Firearms, Second Amendment right. Go away. But that's what I would like to see. But those who get power never relinquish power. Those who get power never relinquish power. We talked about this the other night, St. Augustine and libido dominandi, the lust to dominate. Once somebody has power, why would they give it up? It's a flaw in human nature. It's just, it's who we are as human beings. It's our ego. It is our obsessive nature to be right and exert power over others. We see it all the time. You see it with sometimes you see it with police officers. You definitely see it with politicians. You've seen it in history with every dictator that's ever had power never used it for good. I mean, if anybody could tell me any world leader who had unlimited power over their subjects that used it for good, I would be very interested to look into that and see, because, you know, that was this is why George Washington is so renowned and revered, not only being the general of the Continental Army, but by being the person who left the presidency. So when they elected a president, right, typically revolutions, the guy who overthrows the government becomes the frickin' king, right? The general becomes the king, whether it's Napoleon or, you know, countless other people throughout history, Caesar. They become the king and they just don't leave power. The citizens of the United States of America during the American Revolution just said, oh yeah, George Washington's our king. He's the king of America. That's literally what people thought. They didn't know, like, president was different. It's actually John Adams tried to pass resolutions because they didn't know what to call the president, right? His Excellency, his supreme honor, his all of these regal names, these royal affirmations to the title of the president. That's literally what they were discussing. Like, what are we going to call him? And Washington said, no, you're just going to call me Mr. President. I'm not a king. I'm not doing that. This is what we're not doing. We didn't fight to replace an old king with a new king. And then he resigned his seat of power, where he didn't really have to. He could have just been like, no, that's it. I mean, this is mine. What are you going to do about it? I'm the king of the United States. And we'd have the Washington royal family today. That's why he's so renowned, because it was so mind-blowing that nobody in history has ever done that before. So, but that is going to be the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you go to ryanfsamuels.com/shop. Okay. Check out the shirts up in the corner here. I got some really cool shirts. I got our new news section where we're writing articles daily and publishing them about things that are going on in the country. Check them out. I got some educational resources on there too. All the first, the Bill of Rights explained amendment by amendment. Also biographies of each individual president. Go to ryanfsamuels.com. Check that out. Make sure you download the podcast and tune in as we will continue to cover these events as they unfold. God bless you. God bless this country. And God bless your families. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to The Ryan Samuels Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.